Hi everyone, it's Mike, the PrepperNerd, and I'm here with another video on the prep inventory system. Today I wanted to share a video done by someone who's actually using the system. His name is Stacy Telich, and he's actually an instructor on Udemy with over 15,000 students in a number of courses that he's published. So real quick before I get into that, I wanted to provide just a couple of updates. I've now set up 194 people with their very own prep inventory system. This is just amazing to me, and to think just a few months ago I was wondering if I'm the only one who would want something like this, and it still just feels like we're scratching the surface. And second, we now have 1,746 items in the barcode database, and this has just blown away my expectations, and I want to thank everyone who's contributing. We have hundreds more records in the staging area that I need to approve or edit because they're not formatted in the standardized format, so it does take a lot longer to approve those. But wow, over 1,700 items in the database already. That's fantastic. So back to Stacy. After getting set up with this prep inventory system, Stacy let me know how impressed he was with the system, and how it made it so clear that what he actually had stored and what his gaps are. He was so enthusiastic about it that he reached out to me for my permission to use a small part of the live stream that I did recently with the Urban Prepper, so that he could share with his students in his course called Prepper's Guide to Food Storage. And I will tell you, anytime someone shares this system with someone, in my mind, that is the highest form of compliment. I hear from people all the time that they're sharing with family, friends, and coworkers, and I just appreciate that so much. In this case, Stacy wanted to share it with really hundreds of his students. I was humbled, and of course I agreed. So once Stacy added the video to his course, he gave me access, and as I watched the video, it struck me how incredible it was to hear how someone else felt about the system that I'd built, and how he, explained the value of it to his students. All of these people who trust his expertise on the topic. So what I want to do is I want to share the video that he did in his course with you, because it gives you an unbiased and objective perspective on how the prep inventory system can help you. I'd also like to recommend you check out Stacy on Udemy. Again, the name of the course is Prepper's Guide to Food Storage. And it looks like there's a promotion on it for a fraction of the normal price. I'm not sure how often they do that or how long that promotion is going for, but I encourage you to go over and just check it out. I will say that I've watched more than half of his course now, and the way he explains things and the information he shares in the course is just really insightful and builds upon things that you might have learned from YouTube videos, for example. I've been watching prepping videos for close to 18 months now, and Stacy's already taught me a lot that I never have heard on YouTube. So I think it's definitely worth the price, definitely worth checking out. And by the way, I'm not affiliated with Stacy in any way. There's no compensation between us. He liked what I'm doing and wanted to share with his students. And then later, from watching his videos, I found out that I liked his course and I wanted to introduce him to you. So, and as well as share with you his objective perspective on the prep inventory system. So I'd like to share one of his modules with you, the one that he added specifically on the prep inventory system. And if you want to get set up with your own prep inventory system, you can go to PrepperNerd.com, and you can go ahead and sign up right now. There's no longer a waiting list. I want to encourage you to please hit the thumbs up or thumbs down to let YouTube know to show this video to more people, and subscribe and hit the bell if you'd like to make sure that you're informed of future videos. And with that said, here's Stacy. I hope you enjoy it.
I want to clarify something that I said earlier about your meals, on being able to calculate your meals. Best practices for long-term storage or long-duration prepping, it's not entirely accurate. In counting your meals, like with what I was saying before with the rice, will not sustain you beyond more than 1 or 2 months. Calorie counts are extremely important when it comes to long-term duration in your preps. In calorie counts, it can get a little bit nerdy. For instance, I have in store 1,400 pounds of meat, all freeze-dried, which is the equivalent of about 3 cows. Now, in my house, there's 4 adults in the household, that will sustain us for 7 months. Not very long considering the amount of meat that we're talking about. You need other things to boost your calorie count, because based off of what the government says, and we'll look at that here. How many calories per day to maintain weight? Now, all of these different sources, they have the calculators. You can determine what you need, but for the most part, it comes down to, based off of your sex and your age, it can be anywhere from 1,600 to 2,400 for females, and 2,000 to 3,000 for males, depending on your activity level. If you're, out chopping wood and you're a man, you're going to need around 3,000 calories a day just to maintain your health. That's just being fit. If you are going to just hunker down and do nothing and read books, 2,000 calories a day. But the calorie count on different things is, like rice, is only around 400 calories per pound. That's a lot of rice if you're going to eat nothing but rice. It's actually more than what you can stuff in your stomach in order to get to that 2,000 calorie level. And that's per day, per person. Now, going into bulk items and long-term storage of like rice or freeze-dried foods, you need to account for that by the number of people that you have. I went and recently watched a video, which is what we're looking at here, from the Urban Prepper, of a guy who created some software. This is mom and pop programmer on being able to calculate this sort of thing. Now, we're going to watch a little bit of this.
Let's get started maybe with an introduction to you as far as your background. We by your name, we know you say that you're a nerd. So maybe we could talk a little bit about some of the nerdy background, and then how you got started into wanting to create this prepping dashboard and prepping inventory system.
Sure. So yeah, where I get the nerd from is really all of my focus and background in software development. I used to, develop software for a large part of what I did for a living, and coding applications using Visual Basic and other coding languages, and that evolved into website development and a lot of work automating processes for whatever company I was working for at the time, and so that experience led me to using different tools, and as I advanced in my career, or evolved in my career, I guess, one of the tools that I'm a real big fan of right now is this tool that you're seeing right in front of you. Yeah. This dashboard is built, or the whole system is built off of a platform called Smartsheet. This isn't an advertisement for Smartsheet by any means, but I just want to share, this is just something that I feel, is the right tool for the job for a number of reasons. And I think that you'll see what I mean by that as we go through kind of some of its capabilities and how I've put things together, and the privacy and security aspect of it that it offers is, just top notch, something that you wouldn't be able to get from a homegrown, app that you might find on an app store, for example, right?
Yeah. And it goes beyond like, because a lot of us probably use Excel maybe to track some things, but from
Hmm.
our talks that we've had, it's a much more robust and powerful system that almost takes like it takes metrics and uses a lot of analysis to help you drive towards decisions, and does a lot of the legwork for the setup for you then.
Yeah, I mean, Excel can do a lot of things. I have a lot of experience with Excel, probably 20 years of experience with Excel. So, that was my first solution, right? So when I started prepping, back in January or so, I was watching a bunch of, or I got into watching a bunch of prepper YouTube channels, including yours back at the end of last year, and
Oh,
kind of made me hypersensitive to, what was going on. The end of 2019. And it made me hypersensitive to what was going on, back early last year with the pandemic and so forth. So, I was kind of ahead of the curve, and I started prepping in about January of last year. And I quickly realized that I needed to get organized because I just had stuff all over my house. I had things in bins. I don't have a prepper pantry. Some people are ultra organized. They've been doing this a long time, and that's awesome. They don't need necessarily an organization system like on Excel or something, because they're so well organized just in terms of how things are physically stored and accessible. That's not my situation at all. So, and I've come to find out that that's true for a lot of other people,
yeah.
So, I started with Excel and took it to where I could get using Excel, and realized, what, this really isn't the right tool for the job. I think there's a better tool. I tried something, because what I was looking for was something I could use online too, so that I could
Yeah.
access the information on the go, maybe in the store, when I'm shopping, to figure out what it is I needed to focus my dollars on. So then I went to I tried Google Sheets for a little bit, and then I realized, wow, I have experience with this thing called Smartsheet that I use all the time at work.
Yeah.
And it's a really powerful tool. I'm just going to try to build something there. And as I started building it out, I realized, wow, this is a really great platform. And it's got so many capabilities that just you can't get out of something like Excel. But it's just, everybody has their own preferences for the type of tool they want to use. And I just happen to be a nerd
Yeah.
and like the most techie solution. No, but
I came across the same issues as what he was talking about here. One of the things that I was doing just as a, simple, back of the napkin kind of thing to trying to determine how much I had, it was counting meals, and which is I suggested before in the, earlier in the module, earlier in this course. That works, like I said, for about a month or two. You can count meals out and you can sustain yourself in a short-term emergency. But when you're dealing with an emergency like a Great Depression, an economic collapse, those can go for 10 years or more. If you're dealing with a grid down scenario, you're actually dealing with both of those, where supply chains are completely disrupted. What you have is what you have, and that can last for up to 2 years all by itself. If the grid is down, the supply chain is completely destroyed. So if you don't have enough food, you're going to be out of luck. The government's not going to come to save you either. It's one of these things where the government has already said, they did a study, the Pentagon did a study, saying if the grid went down, completely went down for up to 2 years, in the first 100 days, first 3 months, 9 out of 10 people will die. And that's largely because of the supply chain disruption. Some is for medication. Others are essentially, too far away from a population in order to, trade or do anything of that sort. So they're completely cut off from everyone else. There's no gas. There's no way to get gas. Where you're at is where you're at. What you got is what you got. Counting meals for a short-term disaster, like the loss of a job, power outage, tornado, earthquake, these things recoup relatively quickly in comparison. Counting meals in those scenarios, great. But for long-term stuff, you want to have an actual calorie count. And that's what this software does. It's cheap. on the scale of software, it is really cheap. And I'm not promoting this because I get no money. I don't have an affiliate with Mike here at the PrepperNerd. I do have the software, and just to give you an idea of what I have, I got the software like 2 days ago, and I got 90 to 95% of my stuff inventoried. This is what I have for 4 adults. Calorie count, you put that in there first, and it shows you how much you need every single day. For 4 people, I need at least 7,800 calories of food every day. This lays it out in such a nice way. It shows you where your deficits are at, what you've got as far as your overall inventory. 85% of my stored stuff is in meat. That's nice. You're going to want to need that. But meat is not the main staple. Main staple should be, your storable foods, rice, and this is actually accounts for 300 pounds of rice, pastas, beans, vegetables, fruits. It allows you to monitor your best use date. So if you've got a lot of soups, canned soups, you want to have the best use date put in here so you can monitor what you have to put in your rotation. Mike is really good on explaining how all of this works. And he has a YouTube channel where he basically gives a course on how to set up and how to, work it. And it's real easy. But having an idea of what you have, how long you've got in real calorie counts, is going to allow you to focus your attention on things that you really need. And it's not just food. I haven't added it in here, but you've got other things that you can add as far as your supplies are concerned. You can add equipment, your soaps, your paper towels, toilet paper, how many units it's going to take. And figuring out all of this is just a Google search away. Especially your calorie requirements. If you need to add a particular thing, say how many calories per day, how many calories in a pound of mango. Not very much. It's delicious, it's good, but your calorie counts, you got ground beef, let's do spaghetti, just because I eat a lot of spaghetti. Not a lot. 1 pound of spaghetti. Granted, I'll eat like 2 or 3 pounds at a time, but 1 pound of spaghetti is 700 calories. It's a teeny tiny portion of what you need in order to live healthy. And you can ration, but as you ration, you start to lose cognitive ability. 20% of your calories are used in your brain. If you start cutting into that, your brain is the first one that gets rationed off. You stop thinking clearly or rationally because it wants to keep your other organs, your body wants to keep your other organs alive and functioning well. Your heart, your breathing, all of that. Your brain is actually considered a secondary organ when it comes to calorie counts. So the closer you get to your daily calorie intake number, the better you'll think in a time where you actually need to think the best. This is an honest-to-God tool that, puts things in a sober light. So you're not fooling yourself or, using hopium in order to determine what you've got is what you're going to need. You can truly plan out with the calorie count and, buy the foods that you like to buy, You just buy enough for the time period that you think you're going to need. And like I said, an economic collapse can go on for 10 years. Now, you're not going to need 10 years worth of store. You can supplement whatever you've got with whatever's coming in. But if you can't afford your normal grocery bill and you have to dip into your preps, you can keep track of what you've got left over in calorie count. Really easy. It's, a fantastic piece of software. I like it. And I'm, like I said, still inventorying my stuff. I just got it a couple of days ago. And I foresee this being the metrics that I use in order to determine my shopping and my decision making in the future. That way I always know what I've got, so I don't overbuy one thing and underbuy what I truly need. Like pasta. I need more pasta. Anyway, on to the next.